Hey, so in this video, I want to talk about guns and my thoughts on them. And I want to get your thoughts on them as well. I know I'm in the same spot as my last video. I'm going to probably be here a lot. Probably be in a lot of different places as I figure out what I want to do on this channel and how it's all going to work out. But I want to talk about my thoughts on guns and what they really mean in today's society and whether they're necessary or not. Because when you think about a gun and you think about what they were used for initially, they were engineered, they were created for one thing, and it was to kill. And you can't deny that. They were not created for sport. They were created to kill things. You wanted to hunt. You wanted to defend your land. You wanted to fight for your country. And then nobody said, you know what? I want to make this metal machine that fires bullets just for fun. And I think that people should understand that the purpose of a gun has always been to kill something. Now, it is transformed, as things do, into a sport because people are competitive. Just like baseball or basketball or football or track and field or cross country or anything. You can compete when you have a gun, and while competition is good, maybe there's a price to pay for that. Those few people who do find competitions with firearms exciting, and I always wonder, well, does it really improve the happiness of the world to own a gun? Does these few people and their sport, and that makes them happy, but would it increase the happiness of the world if nobody was allowed to do that sport? There might be a few people that are sad about not having a gun, but I think there'd be other people that are I think that most of the world would be a lot happier because if nobody had guns, they wouldn't be able to fight in wars, and this leads to another question of weapons and what counts as a gun, and will taking away guns even solve the problem of mass shootings and other problems like defense? Because there's three arguments that people talk about when they talk about owning a gun, and those arguments are: one, it's a sport; two, it's my right to own a gun; and three, I'm defending myself. Well, with the sport thing, I think the sport it falls apart. That argument falls apart because maybe guns didn't start out as a sport and then someone decided, you know what, I could probably defend my country with this. They started out as a weapon, and then people turned them into a sport. Whereas baseball has been a sport. It was supposed to be fun. It was designed to bring happiness, and guns were not designed for that purpose. So, baseball, yes, you can use a baseball bat to kill someone. People die from getting hit in the head with a baseball or in the chest with a baseball, and it stops their heart. But baseball is not meant to kill people. And if it turned into something that was so violent that it killed lots of people or injured lots of people, I think that the right response would be to outlaw baseball, or maybe deter people from playing baseball because it was so hurtful to the world. But guns, they were designed to be hurtful, and then we turned them into a sport, But guns were designed to kill people, and yes, you can turn them into a sport, but if we take away guns and we take away the sport in the process, is that a sacrifice that people should be willing to pay for the increased happiness of having no guns in our societies? The other thing is people say it's my right to own a gun, I should be able to. Well, just because it's your right to do something doesn't mean it's a good thing. Laws change. Just because it's your right to do something doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. And that there's a lot of laws like slavery was legal, but we decided eventually that, even though it's legal, it shouldn't be, because it's not the right thing. We shouldn't have people being treated horribly for other people not getting paid, and and we decided that that was not worth it. It was not worth the free labor. It was not, in our society, we determined that slavery should not be legal. And I think eventually one day we will determine that guns should not be legal. The amount of harm that they're able to do is not worth the amount of happiness people get out of the sport of hunting or target practice. And that gets into other debates about should hunting be legal and should we all be vegetarian. That's a topic for a different video. But I think, you can do a lot of harm with a gun, and that argument of it's my right to own a gun is true, but that doesn't mean that it should be a right or that it should still be in law, because those laws were written a long time ago in America when guns were necessary, or more necessary than they are now, because fighting was happening a lot more, and we haven't had a war in this country for a long time, and that's because we've decided that we've become more civilized in the United States of America, and I think that the argument falls apart when you can take those laws away, and because we've done it in the past with slavery and other topics, other laws as well. The last thing people say is it's for my safety. I'm trying to defend myself with a gun. Well, you don't need to defend yourself with a gun if someone else doesn't have a gun. If someone's shooting at you, you're gonna die whether you have a gun or not. You might be able to hurt them, but they will die, and you'll both be dead, or you'll both be injured. The thing that if nobody was allowed to have guns, how would someone kill you? They would have to kill you with a knife or a bow and arrow or a throwing star, and those can't kill you as quickly as a gun can. And that you don't need a lot of skill to get a weapon and just spray ammunition, spray bullets at a crowd. You can cause a lot of damage in a short amount of time with a gun, which is not possible if someone runs at you with a knife. You can't kill 100 people per minute with a knife unless you have them all lined up or something. And I think that's really what it comes down to is how much pain you can cause with a gun, and what the pain that's meant to be caused with a gun. As opposed to if they were outlawed and you had to defend yourself with a knife or run away from someone with a knife, it's a lot easier to do that than run away from someone with a gun unless you have a gun. So is two people fighting with two guns really better than nobody fighting with no guns? Because one person with a gun can kill 50 people, whereas two people without a guns can kill a lot fewer people. And I think that should be talked about more. The amount of damage you can cause in a time frame is probably what it's going to come down to. There should be a scale for all things. A gun can kill. It should be how easy it is to get a thing, how much damage it can cause, and how easy it is to cause damage. So a gun can cause damage very easily. So and it's fairly easy to obtain them, and you can cause a lot of damage in a very little amount of time. And with another sport like a baseball bat, yes, you can. Although it's a lot harder to get a gun than it is a baseball bat, you can't kill very many people with a baseball bat, and you can't kill them very quickly where you can with a gun. And that's why the guns should be a lot harder to get. You should have to go through tons of hoops to gain the privilege. The American privilege of owning a gun should be the highest honor, and people should be treated with respect if they have gained that honor. You should have to go through rigorous training. You should have to go through multiple safety tests. You should be tested for your mental stability. And once you can own a gun, a police officer might be able to own a gun, but they should be tested way more than they are, because there's been a lot of police shootings because police are trying to defend themselves from possible criminals with guns. I don't know, that's even another topic for another video, but there's been other countries in other parts of the world where they don't even have guns, and they're okay because nobody can fight with a gun, and so there's a lot less deaths from guns. and I think that's really what it comes down to, is how much damage can you cause in an amount of time. And the privilege of owning a gun should be way higher than it is right now. So we'll never reach a point where we don't have guns, because there should be a balance between idealistic and practical perspectives. Ideally, no one would fight in wars, no one would own guns, and the world would be perfect. But that's not possible, and so we have to take the responsibility and make sure that the guns do not go in the wrong hands. Make it very difficult to own a gun, so that it's an honor and not just a right. And when we do that, we can determine how easy it is. Eventually, getting a scale of how easy it is to kill someone with something, and a gun might be 100 on this death scale. And those type of items, such as a bow and arrow or a gun or a knife, should be an honor to have, and regulations should be put in place so that we have a scale that would say, because it's very easy to kill a lot of people in a short amount of time, guns are at the top, and above that maybe military weapons, and below that baseball bats. But on that scale, those weapons and those items that are high require a lot of skill and honor and testing to be able to own them, for them to be for the normal person to be able to get their hands on those weapons is not acceptable, and we need to increase that so that it's an honor and it's a privilege and it's not a right to be able to hold such a powerful thing in your hands. So those are my thoughts on weapons, and I'm wrong. There's no right answer to this question, but those are my thoughts, and I want to hear your thoughts as well, and I want to hear what people are saying and where I'm wrong, and maybe I'll make a follow-up video where I talk about what people have said, and I'll talk about my opinions on it. I just want to talk about this discussion because we need to do something, so that people don't die, and I think the right response, personally, I think the right response is to make it an honor to hold a gun and not a right, and to create this scale where we can determine what things should be an honor to hold and what things should not, and put guns very high on that scale. So let me know in the comments, and feel free to subscribe and let me know what you think. And I'll see you in the next video, which might be in this area as I figure out what I want to do. So I'll see you next time, guys.